Welcome to the Page by Page Book Club. I'm your host, Paige Imprint, and I bring you weekly book club meetings wherever you get your podcasts. Our fifth reading wrap-up, guys. I feel like I say it every month, but I can't believe another month has passed. Time has been flying by this year, and I cannot believe that it's almost August. August is my book talk anniversary, and I just can't believe that I've been, here's the thing. I've been in the bookish space since March of 2024, but I did not put my foot on the gas by any means until August of 2024. That's when I created my book talk and started posting 3 times a day every day. So I kind of consider August my book talk anniversary. Anyway, semantics and logistics that y'all probably don't care about, but I think I am going to do like a 1-year book talk anniversary episode. So that's going to be super fun and I'm very excited. Little status update for you if you listened to last month's wrap up, because I had kind of a minor crash out. It was the first month that I was working full time in the book space, but it was also my lowest reading month ever. Like, I think I read, at the time of recording the podcast episode last month, I had read 4 books, I think, and I believe that I ended up reading 6, and that had been my lowest reading month since I started reading as an adult to date. And the crash out was related to the fact that it's like I just started this career in the book space full time, and then sadly I wasn't reading. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm going to work in the book space full time, I am going to step it back up and make a larger focus on taking time out of my day to read. And you may be thinking to yourself, Paige, how did that go? Did I do better this month than I did last month? Yes. Did we actually read more books and make time to read this month? Yes. Did I read as many books as I was hoping to read this month? No, I didn't. And not to make too many excuses for myself, however, my sweet dog, Zoe May, was very sick at the beginning of this month. And then she had a surgery, and that was it was a lot. It was a lot, and it did not allow for a ton of reading time for me. So, not to make excuses, but that's kind of what had been going on with my month, and why I think partially the beginning of this month was a little bit slower, but we're doing better. And I think August is going to be capital M, my month. Where do we begin? I was thinking of doing a few favorites for you all before we got super into the episode, because I don't have as many books to talk about this month. So let's start there and then we will continue on. Okay? My personal favorites from the month. This could be a product, a hack, a bookish lifestyle thing, I don't know. Just like some of my favorite things from the month of July. Number 1, reading in the pool. Hey, there's nothing better. There's nothing quite like a little romance book in the pool to cool off when it's scorching hot outside. I'm sorry. That's living. That is living the life. So, if you have not yet read a book in the pool or by the pool this summer, this is me telling you to do so, because it just hits so hard. It hits so different and hits so hard, and I highly recommend the in-pool reading experience. So that's one of my favorite things this month. Number 2 is going to be keyboard shortcuts. What I have done, and this is a shout out to Corinne Michaels for this hack because it has changed my life, is I end up responding to comments. Like, a lot of things I just say have similar or the same comments to, like yes, or I love this, or right, like that kind of thing is like usually the appropriate response. Now, if something needs more than that, I do more than that. But Corinne was like, you just need to make keyboard shortcuts and be like, one thing I say a lot is you and me both. And so it's keyboard shortcut is just YAM. And when I type YAM, it autofills to you and me both. And my life has changed forever. 3 letters instead of however many words. Like, yeah, dude. So that is another one of my favorite things for the month. And I highly, highly recommend, if you are not utilizing your keyboard shortcuts like I wasn't, to start doing so, because it has changed my life. And that is one of my favorite things from the month. Let's go to food. I am so obsessed with Dots barbecue pretzels. Dots barbecue pretzels. Yeah. I'm obsessed with them. I cannot stop eating them. They're so good. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, pretzels? You don't understand. You do not understand what these, like, you have to get these pretzels. That's all I'm saying. So, those are 3 of my favorite things from the month of July. Now, we can talk about books. So far this month, I have read 6 books. I am recording this episode with a week left in the month. And question for you guys. I record all of my podcast episodes a week before their release. And that is kind of difficult with my recap episodes because there's still 7 days left in the month as I'm recording this. But I want to give you all my recap and release radar episode the first week or first Wednesday of every month. But I guess my question is, would you prefer an episode like this where I tell you what I've read so far and tell you what I'm planning on reading by the end of the month and give you the release radar? Or would you prefer this episode every month come a week later and me have my official certified reading list? You see what I'm saying? Let me know. Please reach out because I can't decide and I personally do not care. So you tell me. This book club is a democracy and you tell me. We can take it to a vote. Okay. Now, let's get into it. I have read 6 books so far this month. I believe that I'm going to finish this month with 9 to 10 books. Why am I wondering and guessing when I can know? What's up with Goodreads changing its logo, by the way? I was just searching my app page for an embarrassing amount of time trying to find the logo, and they changed it, and I'm just be so for real. Come on now. That is not the changes that we wanted. Here we go. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have read 6 books so far this month, and I believe I'm actually going to round out the month with 9 or 10 books read. So we'll get to that. But I started my month of reading by finishing Against All Odds by Corinne Michaels. That is actually out now. And last week's podcast episode was an interview with Corinne Michaels. So if you have not listened to that yet, you absolutely should. She's just so intelligent and lovely and fun to talk to. And she has over 40 books released. So her advice and just knowledge was so profound. I love talking to her. But Against All Odds was so good, y'all. Second chance, eat it up every time. Pregnant, but it's not his. Eat it up every time. Neighbors to Lovers, small town. He's the vet. She is actually returning to the small town just for a year to kind of escape the press and get a fresh start on her life because her husband, who's an actor, was caught very, very publicly being unfaithful to her. And so she ends up returning to Ember Falls to kind of get a fresh start, reset, all of that good stuff. And her childhood sweetheart is living there. And what was interesting about Everett's character, first of all, he's a textbook book boyfriend. He is perfection. He's incredible. He's lovely. He is swoon-worthy. I loved everything about Everett. And what's interesting about his character is throughout this entire series, he's kind of been the funny guy. He's kind of been sarcastic and he's had great banter and he gives everyone around him kind of a hard time. And so you kind of expected that type of personality from him. And he had that as an exterior, but he had such a soft, gentle, acts of service based interior that I was so blown away by and obsessed with. The mass majority of people have just been in awe of him. I think he was so standout. Violet was incredible herself, but Everett was a just top tier book boyfriend. I think he ended up taking a top spot for a lot of people as a book boyfriend, rightfully so, because he's just so swoony. He buys her a mattress when she mentions once that her mattress is uncomfortable. He joins over 30 mommy blogs when he finds out she's pregnant because he wants to learn more about her pregnancy. And he's like, I actually know a lot about animal pregnancies because I'm a vet, but I knew nothing about human. It was really cute. And then The moment she found out she was pregnant and the timing was evident that it wasn't his, he was like, and? Okay, and? Like, that's not a problem. How could I not love someone who's half you? Like, what a swoony, incredible, lovely thing to say. And he just never once made it about him. And I loved that. The story's phenomenal. No third act breakup, but still has some good angst in it. So I personally loved it. 5 stars to Against All Odds. Congratulations on your release, Corinne. Everyone clap and cheer. We love her. Then I finished Honor by Danielle Baker on audio, and it's the 3rd book in the Skyridge Hotshot series. It's a single mom and her neighbor, who's the superintendent of the Hotshot firefighters. There's a bit of an age gap. She is kind of a recent widow. Her husband died in an unfortunate incident as an EMT, and she was actually pregnant with their 3rd child at that time, and her neighbor ends up helping her birth this child. Yeah, so he's been around, he's involved, and he's been in love with her for longer than you could ever possibly imagine, and I loved this story. His kind of nickname for her is Mama, and I know a lot of people really like that nickname for single moms, so yes, that is the one. Very fun, funky, and fresh. It was the perfect end to the Skyridge Hotshot series. If you are in the market for a firefighter romance series, but you want something a little bit different because they aren't like your standard neighborhood firefighters, they are wildfire firefighters, this is the series for you. Each book is written by a different author, which is kind of fun as well. If you didn't know that, it wouldn't feel that way at all. Like, it was not, choppy at all between the authors. It was very cohesive. All of the characters were cohesive. The world was cohesive. I thought it was the best a shared world could have been. So we loved Honor. Then I read Selfie by Kay Cove. I loved this book. It's the 3rd book in the Lessons in Love series, following Camera Shy and Snapshot. And it's a boss assistant romance, and it's kind of a dislike, hate to love scenario. The tension between these two is phenomenal. We have an age gap. She is a single guardian, billionaire, and there's kind of this like opposites thing where he's a billionaire and she is struggling to keep her head above water a little bit, so he ends up kind of having the opportunity to take care of her. There's a lot of will they, won't they, a lot of forced proximity, a lot of tension, a lot of feelings, and I loved it. What was really gripping about this is the first chapter, or the prologue, I can't remember how she had it titled, was a flash forward to a scene that happens later in the book, and it really just grips you from the jump and makes you wonder, like, how are we going to end up here? Especially when they are disliking each other so severely. So I thought that it was such a unique way to start the story, because a lot of times the prologue is a moment in the past, but Kay had this be a moment that you will witness later in the book, and I loved that. So little billionaire, boss employee, opposites attract, age gap, number for you. I also just really love the Lessons in Love series. Camera Shy and Snapshot are phenomenal, and as I always say, Kay writes such complex, thoughtful plot lines. The truth of the matter is, her plot lines are so intricate and beautiful and detailed that this is not a like low mental lift read. None of her books are, in the best way. She weaves such intentionality and realness into her stories that it's like you got to be locked in to be catching all the things she's throwing, and I love that about her writing. So my only suggestion is, don't go into this looking for a mindless read necessarily, because Kay is not the one. Kay is not the one for a mindless read in the best way. That is with like the utmost respect and compliments to her. Not that there's anything wrong, by the way, with some like just easier to digest plot lines as well. Like, there's a time and place for both. I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you're going to read, you need to be locked in. Lovely. Then I read Poker Face, the first book in the Beaufort Poker Club series. Yes, the time has finally come, y'all. I am finally officially reading the Poker Club series by Maggie Yates. Y'all have been knocking on my door about this, and we knew the time would come. If you know me, you know. I love me some Maggie Gates. I think that she is just such a phenomenal storyteller. I love the Falls Creek series. I love the Griffith Brothers series. I love Seven of Hearts. I just love everything she does. And so many of you were like, you have to read the Poker Club series. And so I did. I read the first one on audio, and what a great, fun opening number to a series. I want to start this by saying that Poker Club is not intended to be read as standalones. Maggie has said it over and over and over again. These are not interconnected standalones. They are not intended to be read out of order, and you will miss major plot points if you do so. So, we are reading them in order. I just wanted to establish that. But this story follows a celebrity chef MMC and our FMC, who is a very, very talented pastry chef. And she is in LA for a pastry competition. And the day before, she runs into this very handsome guy at the gym. And they end up hitting it off and going on a date. They end the date because she has, obviously, this competition tomorrow. And come to find out, he is one of the judges of the competition. He didn't know she was one of the pastry chefs, and she did not know that he was this very prominent, famous chef. In fact, she hates him. She hates him. She has a lot against him, to be honest. And he had kind of grown out a beard and stuff and didn't really look like himself the day prior. And he very much so has an online and on-screen personality and presence that was not who he is as a person. He didn't act like or look like this celebrity chef figure, and so she didn't realize that that was him. So anyway, she shows up to the competition, realizes it was him. She's kind of infuriated. And then to make matters worse, he has purchased the restaurant she works for. And y'all, the tension, the banter, the hate to love, one-sided hate to love, because he's enamored by her from the jump and does not understand why she doesn't like him. And ultimately he gets out of her, and he pursues her very heavily in like a really lovely way, and they end up kind of falling for each other. And the third act conflict was classic, on the edge of your seat, page turning. I loved this opening to the series. I did do the audiobook, and I am planning on reading the next book in the series ASAP on audio. The whole series is not on audio yet, and so if you're someone who prefers to read their entire series in one format, this is not the series for you yet, because this series is still in the process of being released on audio. But the second one I know for sure is on audio. Aside from that, for the rest of the series, I don't know. I believe there's 6 books. 5 or 6, and so I don't know about the other 4. Okay, that is Poker Face, the first book in the Beaufort Poker Club series by Maggie Gates. I read a prequel novella for a potential partnership I'm going to have, and I actually cannot talk about that one yet, but that is where one of the 6 count is coming from, just by the way. Sorry that I have to gloss over that. And I do maybe want to take this moment to say I have had the incredible opportunity to start kind of doing some more paid campaigns with some authors that I really, really love, and it has been really, really neat and cool. And if you would have told me that I would be paid to read and promote books a year ago, I would have laughed and just told you that that was my dream job, and it is. So that's incredibly cool. And the reason I even bring this up is I want to say I do always read these books before I promote them, and they are always books that I like. So if you see me promoting a book on my page, I have read it in advance of the contract. I really genuinely love the books. That is something that I will not sacrifice on. The opportunity to be paid to promote books is incredible, but I will not sacrifice my integrity or your trust in that way. So if and when you see me promoting books on my page, they are always going to be books that you can trust that I really did enjoy, and that is why I have accepted that contract. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I just felt like I could and should put that out there, as this will be happening a little more than it has been over the course of the next few months. So, lovely, incredible. We digress. Chasing Shelter by Catherine Cowles. I absolutely loved this story. It is probably my favorite, if not my second favorite, Catherine Cowles' book. The only contender running against it is All the Missing Pieces. Everything about this book hit the mark for me. The plot, the twists and turns, the suspense, and the characters. Specifically, the characters were stand out to me. Ellie was such a relatable character, I think, where she lost so many pieces of herself in an effort to make herself smaller and more palatable to her father and her ex-fiance. And while those exact scenarios maybe not everyone has lived, I think a lot of women have lived the experience of making themselves smaller so other people can be more comfortable. And a lot of women lose who they are as a person in an effort to accommodate other people. I remember getting out of a long-term relationship when I was younger, and it was a really daunting moment. One of my best friends said to me, well, like, where do you want to eat? What's your favorite restaurant? And I literally just didn't know. I didn't know because I always chose to eat where I knew they wanted to eat. Or what is your favorite song? What do you want to listen to? I don't know, because I just listened to the things that they wanted to listen to because it made them happy. And as lovely as that is to an extent, you lose so much of yourself in that. And that was a big turning point for me in relationships, because when I went into dating after that relationship, I was like, okay, I need to spend time figuring out who I am, what I like, what it looks like for me to be an entire person without the desires and wants and expectations of someone else, and find somebody that loves that about me and wants me to have the things I want and wants to celebrate the things I love and listen to my favorite music and eat my favorite foods and be interested in my favorite color, and just like all those little things that make an individual an individual. So Ellie was a great representation of that as a character. And as I've said online a few times now, I have not related to a character the way I relate to Trace from Chasing Shelter in a very long time. He, from the cameos he had in the other books, appeared to be this grumpy, protective, type A type of guy. I think many people were very much so expecting him to just kind of be like the grumpy single dad sheriff, which we love. We love a grumpy single dad sheriff in this house. But that was his exterior, and that was what he showed the world, and who he was at his core from his point of view was so impactful for me. He was a perfectionist in an effort to earn the things he's been given. He was protective and cared deeply about the safety and well-being of the people who were most important to him. He placed a lot of responsibility on himself to be perfect, and that all felt extremely relatable to me. He had so much depth to him. I just couldn't have possibly loved him more, and really, really appreciate Catherine's ability to create a really dynamic, three-dimensional character when it would have been very easy to just have him be the grumpy single dad, and like we would have eaten it up. Like, we love grumpy single dads. We do. But he was more than that, and I just loved it. I loved it. Their dynamic together was great. Their banter was great. Their frenemies, neighbors, horse proximity dynamic was great. His daughter Keely provided such a beautiful additional layer to both of their characters and brought out the best in each of them. I loved it. I thought it was great. Unsurprisingly, Catherine has done it again, and I was honored to be a part of it. So I just have really been into the characters lately who are later on in the series, and you really do think you know a lot about them, and then you read their point of view and realize that there's so much more. It's like a mirage, or I don't know what another word for that would be, but it's like a sleight of hand kind of thing where it's like, yes, this is what I have presented to the world, but there's so much more to me. There's another character I have in mind of a book that's not out yet, and when I'm able to tell you, I will. I'm sorry. I hate to be like I have a secret, but there's one I have in mind that y'all are going to love and be shocked by that gives me this same energy. And I can't wait for you to read it. So there's that. I also read Hank by Tilly H. Colson, which is the first book in the Men of Clarence County series. It is her debut, and it is such a great debut, such a great intro to the series. He is our Grumpy Town sheriff, and she is our FMC who's moved home after the loss of her grandparents and kind of takes over their property and their land and their farm, and his efforts to protect her and her efforts to soften him. And it's beautiful. And Tilly writes really vulnerable, beautiful, complex FMCs in particular. And I love seeing them because I think she just writes very real suspense where I've said it before and I'll say it again. These people probably very much so likely are not okay after the things that happen to them. And that results in imperfect behavior and imperfect decisions. And I think that that's beautiful because yes, emotional maturity is lovely. And yes, we would love to all make the right decisions and the best decisions every time, but that's just not the case. And so one word I would use to describe Tilly's writing is real. She writes very real characters and storylines and experiences and behaviors. And I think Corinne touched on this last week where it's like, have we not all miscommunicated with people? Have we not all responded in ways that we're not proud of? Have we not all had moments of immaturity? And yes, it's refreshing and good to read characters that have all those things because it's a fictional world, but at the same time, it's important to see some of our not so lovely qualities reflected as an opportunity in learning growth, to love ourselves more, to love other people more, to understand people more, and it's an opportunity for empathy. So, Tilly, thank you for writing like that because I think that you are just at the top of your class when it comes to writing real people. Just real people into your characters. I love it. So, that's Hank. Then I read Forgotten Dreams. Y'all, I did my math really not right. I've read 8 books so far this month. Sorry. My bad. 8 books this month. Forgotten Dreams by Natasha Madison. It's a friends to lovers forced proximity romance. And she's kind of like, no, I don't like you. I don't like you. And he's like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And kind of wears her down in a really fun way. And I just love that. She's so undeniably attracted to him, but also is trying to keep her distance because she knows she would fall for him really quickly. And I just think that it's so good. It's the 5th installment of her Dream series, and I have loved diving back into this world. I think that this is the final installment as well of this series. If you want high angst, small town romance, this is it. Natasha really has done a great job of creating really, really angsty small town scenarios, which usually don't always go hand in hand, but she has done it so well, and I've loved it. I did that one on audio and had a great time. And that kind of leads us to where we are today. I am in the throes of Reckless Roses by Sarah A. Bailey. And Sarah, if you're listening, how dare you? How dare you? I am an emotional wreck. She's warned us of such a thing, and I honestly just expect nothing less from her. She is just such a high emotion author. I've said it so many times before, but she just writes the human experience and emotion on paper and words, and she does it yet again. Pacific Shores has been such an impactful series on my life between Heathen and Honeysuckle and Wicked and Wildflower, and just my preference and love as a reader. And I cannot believe that I have the 2 final books in this series sitting on my Kindle. I am trying to savor them, but I simply cannot because I am so engrossed in the story. I have a feeling I'm going to read it in 48 hours. It's just, it's so good. So good. So, I do have a reading vlog coming for that. Fear not. You can see me cry on the internet yet again, and nobody's surprised. That's kind of what's happening there. My next read after Pacific Shores is I am diving into Jenna Lockwood's backlist, specifically her Billionaire Romance series. I am so excited to read this. I am on the edge of my seat, counting down the moments. I have been dying for a good billionaire romance, and I have, from my understanding, they're pretty high angst. Check your content warnings before going into them, and I just can't wait. So the first book is a billionaire and ER nurse, and she grew up in the foster system. And then book 2 is a billionaire and a book influencer, which I am so excited for. Like, I'm like, my job in a book. Let's go, dude. So I'm so pumped about that. And then we have, oh, no. That's book 3. But book 2 is single mom. She's the billionaire, brother's best friend, and he's her personal trainer. Like, do you understand how intriguing these sound? Like, are you hearing what I'm hearing? They're called Never Till Now, Blurry Little Lines, and Fate and Fiction. And I am so excited right now. Like, so excited right now. So, once I finish the Pacific Shore series, it is straight to her Siblings of Air series. And it's going to be so good. I can feel it. It's going to be so good. So, can't wait for that. Jenna, prepare to be sick of me. I am so excited. That's next up on my TBR. Now let's talk about some August book releases that are incoming. First and foremost, Coach Me by Molly Goins. I could not be more pumped for Coach Me. Molly has outdone herself. It is a single dad nanny, age gap, grumpy sunshine, baseball coach, forced proximity, perfection. She kind of feels like she is the side character in everyone else's movies and has never really felt like she's the main character of her story and doesn't really know who she is as a person. And so she's kind of created this list of things to do to get to know herself. There is a regular, like, get to know me list and then kind of a spicy list. And that's a really fun element of this. It's not necessarily like the driving plot line, but it is a really fun element of the story. So love that. Love Arranged by Lauren Asher is coming out this month. In August, the third book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. And let me just say, the audiobooks have been phenomenal in the Lakefront Billionaire series. Duet. The MMCs are Spanish speaking, which has been so fun. And Noah B. Perez specifically was phenomenal as the audiobook narrator in these. So highly, highly recommend the audio experience on at least the first 2, but I cannot wait to read the third. What else? Those are the 2 that I'm aware of. I know September is going to be wild. Wild. So we need to lock in for that together. Those are kind of my anticipated releases. What are your anticipated releases for August? Holler, let me know. What am I missing? And then in terms of what I am planning on reading in August, as I said, I am going through Jenna Lockwood's backlist. I am planning on reading 1 or 2 more books in the Men of Clarence County series from Tilly H. Colson. I'm hoping to dive back into Ava Hunter's latest series. I read the first 2 books in her... What is that series called? So from Ava Hunter, I have read the first 2 books in her cowboy romance series, Tame the Heart and Rope the Moon. I really, really want to read Burn the Wild and Ride the Sky. I've seen nothing but incredible things on that. So, really pumped for that. I also really want to read a little Morgan Elizabeth number. I think I'm going to do the Playlist or her Rockstar romance. What is that one? All of My Love. That's probably not right. Hold on. Y'all gotta remember, I don't prep for this podcast. We fly by the seat of our pants around here. In the best way. Oh, I do want to read Tourist Trap for sure. But I'm such a Swiftie. I do think that her book, The Playlist, is going to be great. Oh, Passenger Princess looks phenomenal. I think that's a bodyguard romance from my understanding. Yes, All My Love. Not All of My Love, All My Love. I've heard that's pretty high ink, second chance dual timeline, and y'all know me. I'm all about it. So that's going to be really fun. And then there is this one book that I've been really, really interested in, and I'm not remembering the name. Oh my gosh, y'all. Bless me. I'm fighting for my life. While I'm doing this, another thing to note, I am going on another book retreat this month. Yeah, dude. It's going down. I'm going to Holland, Michigan with Fiction Found Retreats, and I could not be more excited. It is going to be so fun. Like, so fun. I'm over the moon excited about it. I had so much fun in April on the Knoxville retreat on Rocky Top, and now I had to go on the next one. I had to. So I am returning to my book retreat era, and a ton of my friends are going to be there. Shout out Sav, shout out Torianne. I cannot wait. And I just love being in a space with so many incredible women who just love romance, and their default conversations romance books. Like, that's such a fun, special thing to be around people who love and care about and are interested in the things that you're interested in. Like, what a blessing. So I can't wait. I think that it's going to be so fun. I'm so excited. Oh, Ricky, Veronica. Like, I'm meeting so many people too while I'm there. So hey everyone, love you. So excited to see you. Can't wait. The book that I was talking about was called The Lair. It is by Lacina Coney. I hope I'm saying her name right, and if not, I am incredibly sorry, and I will do some research and I will loop back. It is a romantic suspense, slow burn with a little spice. Bar owner and waitress, grumpy ex-Navy SEAL with an age gap. She's 25 and he's 37. So, what interests me about this book? Oh, it's coming to audio on July 29th. Let's go, dude. Oh, I'm in my audio era. Y'all know this. Okay, I'm so excited right now. I just want a little bitty synopsis. Someone give me a little bitty synopsis, please. Allie Smith is a liar. For starters, her name isn't Smith, but it sounds common enough to hide her real identity. And with a new haircut and some hair dye, no one will recognize her on the other side of the country. Or so she hopes. Years after running away from home, in the memories of her kidnapping, Allie finds her footing again in a small town in Maine. She has a safe roof over her head, freedom, and a job. She loves The Lair, a local bar managed by a stoic, protective ex-Navy SEAL who makes her heart beat faster than it should. But the internet never forgets, and Allie's parents made sure her most vulnerable years were broadcasted for millions to see. When her past resurfaces and her true identity is at risk of being discovered, Allie finds that her growing crush on her older boss isn't her biggest problem at all. So, if you're watching with your eyeballs, I'm very sorry my camera just died. I've been yapping for a little too long. So anyway, back to The Lair. I am under the impression and understanding, and now with reading that synopsis, she was a family blogger, child influencer. Like, her parents were family bloggers and she was the child, and she was kidnapped. And then she's dealt with all that, and now she's trying to start over as an adult. And so it kind of, I think, is going to touch on the impacts of family vlogging and all of that stuff. And I just think that that's going to be so fascinating, and I want to read it. So those are kind of on my radar going into August. Now, will things change? Yeah. Will other things come up? Yes. But is it going to be fun? Yes. So I do want to say, is she going to get emotional on the podcast again? Somebody check on her. I am living my dream. This job, this work, this opportunity is so unbelievable. Getting to work full time with authors is unbelievable and make content for you all. And I just finally feel, specifically this week, like I have my feet under me, and that I am able to put one foot in front of the other and wrap up my days around 5 o'clock and potentially take the weekend off. I'm getting to a spot where I'm not working 80 to 100 hours a week anymore. And for that, I could not be more grateful. I will officially be wrapping up at my corporate job here in August. So I will have a little bit more availability to work with authors starting in August, if you're listening and are interested, or you know someone who might be, but I just could not be more grateful, could not be more happy and excited, and couldn't love what I do more. It is just so fun. Helping authors scale and grow their business. Alpha and beta reading for the authors I work with, running the influencer programs, newsletters, data analysis, back-end strategy, I love mailing stuff. That has been so fun. I love packing and mailing. I have a packing and mailing room here at my house. Like, everything has just been a dream, and it wouldn't be possible without you for supporting me, for listening to me when I recommend books. Like, I couldn't be more excited and grateful. So thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to talk about books online and to work with authors and all that good stuff. And I think that's going to be that. I think that's enough from me today, and I will see you next week with who knows what kind of episode. We'll find out together. It'll be fun. But anyway, anywho, thank you as always for spending your time with me, for being here, and for being a part of this book club. I couldn't be more grateful for you, and I will see you in the next one.